4 years ago. What an age of history have we lived in that time. To look back to that fateful day in September when Whitehall was filling to hear what fate held in store is like peering into a far distant and almost remote age, another life. The passage of time has made the early years of war seem disconnected with the present. That rush to buy news as it was fed from Fleet Street in almost hourly editions. This was September in London in 1939. Downing Street looked like this in 1914. There was still too much 1914 mentality in our national system to be healthy 25 years later. The cabinet of the day were to hear of no more meetings in Munich. It was to be war in our time. Poland's ambassador to Britain called at number 10 to report that Warsaw had been bombed. The German chargé d'affaires followed swiftly to deny it. He hardly knew which way to turn, another classical German lie. It is today, 4 years later, that we're able to show you what was happening in Warsaw at that very time. These pictures of the Polish capital, taken by an amateur photographer, have just arrived in this country. For 4 years, they've been hidden in German-occupied territory, slowly traveling the underground way out of Europe. This was September 1939 in Warsaw. Through days of siege, the people there went on fighting and capitulated only when there was no more water or light, and epidemics had started to spread. This was the prelude to the entry of those high-booted Hitlerites and the Gestapo men who were to turn Poland into a graveyard where normal death became a luxury. If life was like this in 1939, how much more ghastly must it be today, with 4 years of unutterable horror heaped upon the tortured people of Poland. Hitler and his master race of butchers were only starting. They had yet to bring to France, Belgium, Holland, Denmark, Norway, Yugoslavia, Greece and Russia the same awful persecution and desolation. Czechoslovakia had already experienced more than 6 months under the Nazi jackboot. Poland and those who suffer with her are still very much in this war. In spite of starvation, execution, the concentration camps and slave labor, the underground movements of Europe are at work. To be vanquished and not surrender, that is victory. Death and suffering stalk the face of Europe, but her invaded countries are not dead, for souls are indestructible.